I'm Tom Campbell from Cultaholic.com, back once again with the ill behaviour with Jack the Jobber.
The what?
Back once again with the ill behaviour.
Is that a lyric?
Deep ball balances, bow to the people.
Oh, I thought it was a back once again with the Renegade Master.
Deep ball balances with the ill behaviour with the news.
Yes.
We'll start with a WWE Superstar unhappy with their position in the company. Details on AEW and WWE contracts have emerged, and which AEW star may have picked up a serious injury. Find out soon. Isn't it nice that you and I get to spend a little bit more time together talking about Apollo Crews?
Yes, absolutely. That's what I've always wanted.
Apollo's been chatting to The Wrap recently. Don't know if you're a reader of The Wrap.
Only when it comes to wrestling news, I can't say I'm a regular reader of The Wrap.
The Wrap, spelled W-R-A-P, as in that is a rap.
Yes.
Rapper present. He's been asked about his time on the main roster. It's quite a revealing interview because Crews says, I wanted to come in here and shock the world, I guess you could say. Felt like I would have done much more at this moment in my career, but I'm still young, I'm patient and understanding, and I trust the process. It's a bit pass-ag, that, isn't it?
A little bit, potentially. I mean, I feel like I understand it because he hasn't been utilised very well on the main roster, certainly. He's one of those guys who has all the in-ring ability in the world. He's fantastic. But then so many people in WWE are these days, and they've not really done anything with him that's been creatively fulfilling. He just seems to be a very bland babyface.
There could be so much more to him because every time we watch him, and we've both seen him lately wrestling Andrade, they've had a little series going on. He's brilliant.
Yeah, he is, of course, really good.
Got all the bits, isn't he?
Yes.
He's got the size, he's got the power, and he does the shooting star press from standing position. He's decent. But do you think his opinion reflects a lot of people on the roster?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I think so. I don't know how. I mean, it seems as though he's committed. I don't know whether this is just him towing the company line or not, saying that I understand the process, I'm going to be patient, or whether that's what he genuinely feels as well, because some guys do seem a lot more content to just keep plugging away and trying to break through, and others, seem to be a bit more having their eyes on pastures new, I suppose, whereas this answer seems to indicate that he's very much still part of WWE and he still wants to be. He's just unhappy with his current position, and I can see why. Yeah,
because he came out of NXT and he was a big prospect on NXT, and he just sort of treaded water for a while. And this is lately is the most we've seen him, really.
Yeah.
Since he came up, so we kind of get your concerns, Apollo. We're with you, friend.
Yeah, we're with you, Apollo.
We are.
You can do it.
Holding hands through the internet.
I was about to be like, you can win King of the Ring. He's out of it, isn't he?
He
lost this week. But, onwards and upwards.
So Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter has given us a little insight into the AEW and WWE contract system, and some details emerged of some potential changes, at least on the WWE side.
Yes, it seems like WWE are sort of combating the kind of financial clout that AEW have with more money on their side of things. In fact, you've written more money in capital letters here.
In capital letters.
More money.
Because that is basically what they are offering.
Basically, AEW are offering, reportedly, low six-figure contracts to wrestlers who are interested at the moment, which is quite a lot. Whereas WWE are looking to, I guess, up theirs to sort of rival that. So developmental contracts are expected to be altered to main roster ones to reflect the extra amount of work expected by those guys, and obviously to kind of stop them from clearing off and going to AEW.
The enticing part of going to AEW and taking an AEW contract seems to be, okay, it's less money, but it's a lighter schedule you'll be working.
Yeah.
And you've got a better chance of getting TV time. We've just finished up talking about Apollo Crews, who is kind of the victim of this swollen roster that the WWE has, and AEW certainly aren't going to be burdened with that.
No.
And, so where WWE can combat that is with more gazonga in the pocket, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, I feel as though right now certain wrestlers seem to embrace that heavier schedule. I guess maybe if they're less a focal point of the shows, look at Mike and Maria Kanellis, for example.
Yeah.
And it all depends on life situation too, because they've got a young family, so they're probably quite happy they have just renewed their WWE contracts, and it was reported that it was quite a big contract for them, which is perfect for their situation, whereas others like Dean Ambrose or Jon Moxley, who kind of made his money and did all that stuff in WWE, might be more motivated by creative pursuits, I suppose.
Yeah, well, whichever side they go, there's benefits to both, and this is just such a cool time to be a wrestling fan again.
It is, it really is,
because it's so it's reminiscent, and I know it's the cliche that's going around. It's the whole Monday Night Wars thing. It really feels like there's competition bringing out the best in everybody.
Yeah, I'm too young to remember. I got into wrestling in sort of 2000, where technically there was still a war going on, but it was a very one-sided one.
Yeah.
WCW won their last legs by that point, so I don't even really know what this is like. I'm quite excited.
Oh, you don't know you were born, lad. Back in my day, we couldn't know whether to watch Raw or Nitro.
Now, which side were you on in that divide?
I was on the Raw side.
You were Raw,
yeah. I'd love to pretend I'm some sort of hard and edgy character and go, yeah, I was WCW.
Matthew was, apparently.
Yeah, but he's a hard and edgy character.
Yeah, he is, I suppose. That's very true.
So this is an interesting little tale that comes from the Wrestling Observer this week. Jerry the King Lawler, WWE Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler, was recently booked to wrestle a match against AEW's latest signing, Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, not in AEW though. This is on the independent scene.
Just a cheeky indie match before the war truly gets underway. Jerry Lawler's answer to that was, no, absolutely not. Completely turned down the match and actually was very shocked that Orange Cassidy had even been signed by AEW.
Right. This reflects the opinion of a lot of people going around recently. When Orange Cassidy was signed, it kicked up a bit of a furore because of he's largely a comedy wrestler. And I guess that is at odds with AEW saying we're a sport, this is going to be treated like a sport. I think people may have misinterpreted what Cody and the lads mean by that, in that wins and losses are going to really matter, but that doesn't mean that all the gimmicks and all the characters are going to be, we're athletes and that's it. I think Luchasaurus. You've got,
Exactly. You can't say we are a professional sporting outfit. Here's Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy.
So I like that it's going to be sports oriented in terms of the contest really matter and it matters who wins. But I don't think that necessarily means that everyone should be ultra serious and everyone should come in like, I'm trying to think of an example of like Ring of Honor style, like who's like an ultra, who's just a man who low-key. Not everyone's going to be low-key.
Yeah.
But Orange Cassidy.
What do you make of Orange Cassidy?
I like him as a comedy wrestler, but I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he used to be Fire Ant in Chikara, where he was a bit of a high flyer.
He's got this is it. This is what people forget about Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy is a brilliant wrestler.
Right.
But the whole thing of where he plays it, where like it's like soft taps that get big pops, soft kicks that get big pops. Like he's still fundamentally a great wrestler.
Yeah.
But I don't think people want to be because I feel like you kind of wrestle his match.
Right.
You know, I personally couldn't imagine Jerry Lawler. Like, who's an old school Memphis boy.
Yeah.
Jerry Lawler who's like, oh, it was a Saturday night, we'd tear each other's heads off and spit down our throats and the crowd would go wild and we make $1 million an hour. Those are the sort of stories you hear from Memphis days. But you couldn't imagine someone like that wrestling in Orange Cassidy.
Which I think would have been why they tried to book it. That's the appeal, I suppose. But at the same time, I do understand. I think the comedic wrestlers have their place, and I think that there's more to Orange Cassidy than that. But if this is what's working for him right now, and that's what's making him money, then fair enough.
And obviously the impending war that's coming up would probably put you off slightly wrestling someone from AEW.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
There is a war on.
But I wasn't surprised that they signed him at all, because the Young Bucks made their name off bucking trends and defying the traditions of wrestling, I suppose. And that's what Orange Cassidy's doing. So they probably thought, he'll wind up Jim Cornette a bit more.
Can we have a Jim Cornette cam every time Orange Cassidy wrestles? That'd be lovely. We can pinpoint the moment his head explodes. And finally, a tough time, potentially, for one of AEW's biggest signings, Jack.
The biggest signing, potentially.
Yeah, we've had some reports about Jon Moxley suffering some kind of elbow injury. We reckon that it might be as a result of an infection that he got in Japan. And the schedule that he worked over the weekend, he still wrestled, he had bookings over the weekend, but a lot of the singles matches that he was booked, like say Northeast Wrestling, got turned into tag team matches.
Yeah, to protect him a little bit more.
And the scuttlebutt was that he was favouring bumping on that bad elbow.
Right.
This could, it could just be an infection. He could take some ibuprofen and be absolutely fine. But it could also be quite a scary time.
Yeah,
One of the big uns.
That's what Meltzer said, that it may be an injury or an infection that he picked up in Japan. But I agree with you. I hope that it's just a precaution that they're taking, because there's a war coming up.
There's a war on!
But he's also got that huge match against Kenny Omega at All Out. And I guess they'll just want to make absolutely sure that he's 100% for that. Because we know that in big matches, Jon Moxley likes to go a little bit full throttle, doesn't he? He likes to go a bit full on. I saw some footage of one of his matches on Twitter doing the rounds, which was in like a baseball stadium, it looked like, and it was raining.
Oh yeah.
Do you see that?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
He was tagging in that. He's tagging with Darby Allin, which is quite an interesting tag team, or potential tag team. And yeah, I don't remember him taking too many bumps in that little clip, but I can understand totally why. I really hope he's not injured.
No, that would be a bit of a blow. Have you enjoyed watching Moxley since he's been
so
let
much,
loose?
So much. Not only, I mean, I was fortunate enough to be there at Double or Nothing when he came out, and there was just a huge wave of people like going crazy, and everyone's like, it took us a little while to actually see him. I remember Ross was next to me, and he just went, Ambrose! I was like, oh. And that was great. And immediately from his own reaction when he hit Jericho and got in the ring and everything, like everyone was like, he seems set free. He seems like he's free now. And then in Japan, he's clearly been doing the stuff that he wants to do, which is more, I guess, work rate style matches with his own hard hitting style, but also his own brand of comedy. Because in that Infamous Now podcast that he did, he talked about how Vince's idea of comedy didn't quite match up with his, and now he gets to do things like, have you seen his things with Shota Umino, the young lion that's been kind of placed in his hair?
Yeah, that's
really good stuff. I really enjoy that when he's like, tell him, Shooter, and then Umino's there just staring, and he goes, cold dead stare from the Shooter. It's really good. But I've been enjoying it a lot. Have you been enjoying it?
I have loved watching him doing his thing as a free spirit now.
Yes.
So I'm happy he's not injured, and we send our best. Get your elbow better nice and quick, because there is a war on.
There's a war on.
There's a war on!
And I'm not taking a side in the war, but I want it to be a good one. That's not
Pick a side! Get off the fence!
Oh,
Get off the fence! You City or United, man?
I don't know, Sunderland AFC.
Oh, that's a shame.
I know, it's a shame.
Actually, yeah, your experience with wars is pretty
really bad. 6 derbies in a row. It's fine.
Love you, bye.
Thanks very much for watching, and let us know what you think in the comments section down below. You can follow Cultaholic on Twitter at Cultaholic and on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you enjoy what we do, then please do check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Cultaholic, where you can pledge. And don't forget, of course, most importantly of all, to hit subscribe and to join us.